Hola, buenos días. Gracias por venir a todos.
Good morning, everyone.
Sandra,
Hello, we have with us the rector of the university, and that will be introducing the course, and then the High Representative for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy, and then we will give you some minutes for questions. Good morning, everyone. First of all, I would like to welcome the High Representative, dear Giuseppe. Thank you for being here one more year with this QUO VADIS session. And it's the 12th edition with this name, but you've been organizing these courses for more than 20 years now. So you've been with us almost every year, and we are very pleased and proud of this becoming a compulsory date in the summer in Santander. And we're always very pleased that you come. And as every year, and I hope not to unveil any secrets, each year Professor Borrell says, I am exhausted. Next year, we're going to try and be less dense. And I say, yes, of course. But then the year goes by and we get to the course, and the course continues to be as full as the previous year. And this is once again the situation for this edition, where they've structured a wonderful and extraordinary program. It is true that the circumstances and the situation of the world demands that we do so, as we find ourselves at a point in time where we've just had European elections that have structured a specific European Parliament that we will be addressing. Also, it is a moment of redefinition of Europe with the conflict and invasion of Ukraine by Russia that is now also going through times of changes in strategy. We also have the situation in Gaza and the perspective of what's happening in the U.S. elections. Therefore, there are many issues we want to address, and very few people on Earth that have the vision, the cosmo vision, and the knowledge and possibilities of addressing all these issues with know-how as Giuseppe Borrell. So, dear Giuseppe, thank you. Thank you once again for coming to this university. And we're so pleased that you're here, and I give you the floor. I would like to thank you for your warm welcome to this summer university that becomes throughout the summer the place for discussions. Because if we look at the program of the summer courses, we see how important the contribution of the University Menendez Pelayo makes to culture in Spain. And I feel very proud of being part of these courses, so thank you. Thank you to the Ramon Areces Foundation for their ongoing support. Without this support, we wouldn't be able to have a program as the one we have. And of course, also thank you to the European institutions that provide their clear support. I'm here as High Representative of the EU for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy, and this is an excellent occasion to address these policies in a world, as you've just said, full of different situations. In fact, the name for the course this year is a Europe between wars, because there's two wars that we usually address and more that we don't mention that much that are taking place in Africa. And also elections, the European elections that have already had happened. So that's why we have a Europe between wars and elections. And we have a European NP that has a long-lasting career and is a president of the European Federalists that will analyze together with Professor Luisa Antonioli from the Trento University, that unfortunately won't be able to join us because she just got COVID. So COVID is still present in our lives. But they will be addressing the situation of Europe after European elections and how it defines or designs a new parliament, how new this parliament really is. And the other elections are the elections in the US that will also limit us regarding the transatlantic relationship we will have depending on who is in the White House. So with these two elections and two wars, Europe needs to face a changing reality. The first conference, the opening conference, will come from Professor Lucas Sokalis, with a long-lasting career on European subjects, author of different books, and one of the persons that is able to analyze in a critical manner and constructive manner what is going to be happening with Europe. Also, throughout today's morning, we will have another vision of the EU in times of crisis by the director of the Global Policy Center of the Instituto de Empresa in Madrid, Elke Teuger. And we will then have a session moderated by Francisco Fonseca Morillo. And we're talking about Le Grand Continent. And he is in fact, Professor Fonseca Morillo is the person heading this course and leading this course, because sometimes you think, I've been in Santander, but I wasn't very aware of it. And if it wasn't for him, we would have stopped these courses. But thanks to him, we have continued with the courses one more year. This afternoon, we will talk about new social policies in Europe, but we will also have the president of the presence of the former president of Senegal, Macky Sall, that has also the former president of the African Union. He's led these organizations in the times of Ukraine. He's been also speaking to Putin, and he will be able to tell us what is the perspective from Africa of the future. And this former president of Senegal and the African Union that joins us in Santander to participate in this course and then continue his travels to Saudi Arabia. A very interesting contribution. And of course, we have to talk about the economy in Europe, because Europe faces three challenges, three elements that we need to face. We have the challenge of economic stability, the Pact for Stability, competitiveness, how we face the biggest competition from countries that we cannot say are still emerging, like China, and finally, economic security or financial security. And remember these two terms, because security is not something that is solved through armies and police. Security affects all aspects of life, and the economic one is really significant. How we guarantee the supply of raw materials needed to live in the digital world of today and tomorrow, and how we guarantee the financial transition, how we cover the lack of products remember, with the pandemic, we were not manufacturing or producing paracetamol. But with the pandemic, we were able to see how vulnerable we were. The same thing with the Ukraine war, and when we saw there was a clear dependency on Russia's gas. Now we have other dependencies. And nowadays, almost everything can become a weapon. Migration can become a weapon. The import of goods that usually get to you without problem can become a weapon. So economic security is something we have to discuss more and more in the Commission. And as a high representative, we've been working on these three issues: stability, competitiveness, and economic security. We will have with us Federico Steinberg from the Instituto Elcano that is working now in Washington, Inmaculada Lopez, main economic advisor in the ARVP cabinet, Georgios Verdi from the ECFR in Brussels, and this will be a very full and intense morning. In the afternoon, we will have a discussion on the issue of our relationship with China, the relationship of Europe, US and China. And like last year, we have Professor Thibergin from the British Columbia University, one of the best experts on the relationship between US, Europe, and China. And through video conference, we will have Henry Huayo Wan, president of the Center for China and Globalization. So these are two different versions of this view, and it will be moderated by Professor Guinea Llorente. On Wednesday, we will start addressing wars. We will speak about the war in the borders of Europe and the Europe of defense. Up till now, Europe has been built through the market, its economy, but now Europe is being built on the foundations of security, defense, new risks, and no doubt the Ukraine war is one of the best ways to look at this risk. We will have with us Borjas Las Heras, Nicolas Gross-Verheider, a Belgian professor, editor-in-chief of BE2, that has written an excellent book on the EU and the Ukraine war. Professor Jesus Núñez Villaverde, co-director of the Institute for Studies on Conflict and Humanitarian Action, and it will be moderated by Barbara Gallo, one of the best experts, not very well known, but one of the best experts on security. And in the afternoon, we will have a presentation by Albert Soler and Pilar Bastia and an audiovisual. And on Thursday, we will talk about the other war, the war in the Middle East. We will have with us Jean-Pierre Filieu, historian and professor of Middle East Studies. And we will have the Commissioner General of UNRWA, the agency that channels the aid to refugee Palestinians, specifically in Gaza. Philippe Lazzarini, as you know, there has been controversy regarding UNRWA and if they've collaborated or not with terrorism. And something that I can say, it's a lie for the knowledge I have of how UNRWA works. And it will be a great occasion to pay tribute to the work that they carry out. We had, I don't know if they will be able to join us, two people representing the intellectual sphere in Israel, which will be Dalia Sheinden and Fania Orsche Salzberger. One is international analyst, and the other one works at the Haifa University. And in the afternoon, the other big challenge that is always present in this course, we will have Cristina Narbona, Minister for the Environment, President of the Ecological Transition and Demographic Challenge Commission on the Congress and Laurence Tubiana, an well-known expert. And Friday, we will have a view of what we need, and we will compare what we have in Europe nowadays and what we expect or foresee we will have in the future or need for the future. And that's why we've have with us Giorgio Verdi, that will also be participating on Tuesday, and he will be speaking about the digital revolution and how Europe is facing the rigid digital revolution. We have Idoia Mateo Murillo from the CISO Europe and Santander Group Corporate Center, and Ángel Melguizo, that will be speaking about technology and economy. And then there will be a conversation between myself, Ignacio Torreblanca, and the director of the European Council for Innovation in Paris. And we will be speaking about Germany and the political situation in countries like France, and how Europe faces its enlargement, what is happening with those countries that are waiting, and with Ukraine, how we face global issues and how we can be more together and develop the power that this unity gives us if we can fully develop it. So as you've seen, the course is not a course to spend your afternoons in the beach, something I really regret because of the 100 students we will have. I hope they all resist the temptation. Usually you have to tell us you have to leave the classroom because people don't want to leave the course. But next year, I promise we won't have such a full program. I promise. Thank you. Now we will go on to questions. If you can please raise your hands. You please introduce yourselves. What is the who you work for? Hello, Miguel Ángel Ayuso from La Sexta. I have two questions. One about the situation in Venezuela and what can happen after these elections in Venezuela, and then what is your opinion between the agreement of the Catalan Socialist Party and ERC, the Catalan Party, regarding this economic agreement on the Thank you for your questions. First of all, I would like to say that this is a course on Europe. I am here, of course, formally as High Representative and as Director of the course. Therefore, please allow me to only speak about the issues that we will be speaking about in this course. I understand your interest, and in fact, there is an interview that has just been published that I've given, and you will find most of the answers in this interview. We will have time to come back to these issues that I understand, and I understand your questions on these issues, but I will be limiting my questions and answers to what we're here for. And Venezuela is not in the program because we don't have time for everything. We're talking about China, yes. Should we also talk about Ukraine? Yes. About the digital revolution, about climate change, about economic stability, competitiveness. We don't have more time nor space. So this year, unfortunately, Latin America is not part of the program. Probably when we developed this program, the situation in Venezuela was not the same as one, which is a dramatic situation. It's clear that Maduro will not be showing the paperwork for the elections. Imagine that here in Spain, the elections authority would publish only partial results and would not justify them. What would go through our minds? What would we think? but we don't have the official records. They just give us the results. So why do we have to believe them? What about the records? Who is registering these records? And the opposition has been able to get some of these official records. They've shown them, and the results are radically different to the ones that were announced by Maduro. But if there's no verification of the results cannot be accepted. I know Maduro has spoken kindly about me. It's not the first time, but I have to insist on the same issue. If results cannot be verified, then they cannot be accepted. And up till now, they haven't been verified. In fact, they are verified through the information provided by the opposition. Maduro has appealed to the courts to be defended, which is the absolute sarcasm, and we're waiting for the High Court in Venezuela to provide a ruling. But we don't know how they're going to do this because they're not the ones in charge of giving us the results. They don't have to go to the courts to get this. So if we cannot verify these results, if Maduro insists on saying he's won, but he doesn't want to understand that for the international community with no verification, we have no real results, Venezuela can be in a real crisis. We are all trying to avoid this happening. In Dominican Republic a few days ago, a text was approved that we also supported as EU, saying that there will be no acknowledgement of Maduro if there's no clear possibility of verifying results. So let's see what happens in the next days. But there's more than 2,000 people captured by the police. There's more repression, and I hope the international community continues to demand a verification of results.
We missed the first part of the question as the speaker wasn't using the microphone. I don't know what Putin's view is at the point of negotiation. When it comes to Africa, Mr. Biden has said that things are going great, but there are more murders. And in Venezuela, we need to negotiate to see if we can come up with a negotiated solution. However, Mr. Maduro is just putting people in jail and making things more complicated. So how are you facing these negotiations? Because it doesn't seem very easy. This is a cosmic question, as you've mentioned a lot of things here: Ukraine, Venezuela, Middle East. Well, the issue is negotiations, yeah, but all the areas are involved. There are no negotiations so far in Ukraine because Putin doesn't want to negotiate and has never wanted to. I'm more concerned about negotiations in the Middle East. We've been trying to have the parties to approve the Biden deal for weeks with the support of the EU, but the plan hasn't been approved yet by none of the parties. The latest news are not good. Although mediators, the US, Qatar, and Egypt insist that it is possible to bridge the gaps that are preventing this deal from being closed. And unfortunately, there are more people killed every day in Gaza. Hostages are still there. There's more violence in the West Bank, and more and more people being sentenced or condemned by the Prime Minister and the President with the support of some minister, which are fueling the fire with their statements. There are no good prospects, of course. the EU is insisting that a ceasefire is necessary in order to provide humanitarian aid and free the hostages, and also, of course, find a negotiated solution to the conflict. We are working on it, but unfortunately, the tragedy in Gaza is still there, and the violence in the West Bank is on the rise. I could speak about negotiations in Sudan, which are not making headway either. The other issue is Venezuela. Negotiations are underway. Some countries in Latin America have proposed to repeat the elections or share an alternate power between the government and the opposition. I don't know how this can happen, but up to now, we are waiting for a solution and a negotiation. Thank you very much. I think with this, we've covered all the topics of your interest. We should be starting the course on time because we have a lot to work on and not so much time. Thank you so much.